Hey all, welcome back from the first half of Mexico-Germany. We should probably set the context for this particular game. Germany in their previous friendlies have not looked all too good, let's say. They had that 2-1 loss to Austria, which rang the alarm bells for some people within the German selection, as well as within the German media. There was a recent article published in The Guardian basically talking about the fact that although it seems all rosy and cheerful on the outside, the Germany national squad perhaps doesn't have the long-term endurance, perhaps the long-term sustainability that other national teams might have. Let's say, for example, England with a crop of young players coming up that may be able to rival Germany in the future. Mexico, meanwhile, they had a loss at home against Croatia recently, but apart from that, they've seemed to have maintained their quality and consistency, particularly within the management. So from early on in the game, we could see that there was a certain, let's say there was a certain rhythm set. So Mexico began with high pressure. Whenever they were given the opportunity, they would try to break Germany, try to prevent Germany from initiating a counterattack by engaging in early fouls, and we could see this pretty soon on, constant basically tackles into the back by Chucky Lozano, by Oscar Herrera and others, including Miguel Layún. At the same time, there was a pace to the game whereby Germany and Mexico were both going back and forth. There was a certain vibrancy and dynamism, as you would expect, with a lot of quality on both sides of the field. And Mexico, surprisingly, but not altogether so, tried to retain their playing style, tried to be as brave and courageous as possible in front of the world champions. I was not particularly convinced by the German attacking style. Timo Werner and Müller didn't really provide much in terms of offensive play. There were a couple good interchanges between, let's say, Werner and Draxler, but apart from that, there wasn't too much risk to the Mexican goal. Meanwhile, I really do not know what Joachim Löw was thinking from the beginning of the game, because they moved the defensive line so far up that the Mexicans are basically allowed to counterattack whenever they like. So whenever a German attack is being broken up, the Mexicans are able to flood men forward in the form of Chucky Lozano, in the form of Chicharito Hernandez, Oscar Layún, and particularly Carlos Vela, who was consistently moving the ball up forward all the way to the 3/4 line of the German field. So I think that Joachim Löw needs to correct this in the halftime talk. Particularly if they want to avoid what happened in the first goal, which is again Carlos Vela, Layún combining with Chicharito Hernandez, and finally Irving Chucky Lozano on a counterattack that was so similar to the previous counterattacks that hadn't been previously basically taken advantage of by the Mexican team. But finally, in this case, they were able to capitalize upon the opportunity. A wonderful shot to the near post. I don't think you can necessarily accuse Neuer of anything. He's been quite good throughout the first half, a few good saves. The shot was strong from close range. You can't basically criticize him for that. So I think going into the second half, the main question for me is, will Germany be able to basically break up the Mexican counterattack, whether that's through tactical fouls, whether that's through making sure that the defensive line moves back a little more, that Boateng and Khedira, for example, are able to maintain their discipline on the defensive front, or will Mexico continue to be handed opportunities on the counterattack, which may allow them to go up 2-0 and place the game out of reach for Germany. Otherwise, I think that Germany will be able to maintain possession. They'll probably pressure the goal more, and in that case, if they're able to break up the counterattacks, correct those and remedies those errors of defense, they should be able to pull away with a draw at least. So look forward to the second half.